wait for people to come here and ask questions. And also I will talk about, it's not a new discovery at all. It's just the science is all around us on the internet. And you can actually put up a link to this thing with the GLP-1 that everyone talks about today, more or less. GLP-1 has, revolutionized this diabetic medication that are using for weight loss, and many doctors use that, and even in Sweden, and it's making those people with diabetes not getting their hands on this medication that they need, because people using that for dropping weight. If that works or not, we'll see that in about 2 years what happens, because there is cons and pros if you read the science behind that. So I will first start talking about this Ozempic and what it is and how it works in the body. Not going too deep, of course. Normally your stomach releases GLP-1, and if you're eating a lot of fat, you will induce a lot of GLP-1 in your stomach. And but if you blend out that fat with any other, starchy thing, carbs, anything, that effect will not be measurable, almost. It will get very low, and that creating very fast digestion. You will not take up the nutrition from the food fully, because it will pass too quick to the digestion system. So the GLP-1 is important to get a slow digestion, so you get more nutrition out of your food. And every starchy thing you can eat will totally turn this around and make it very little GLP-1. It will make the body it neutralize the GLP-1, if you can talk like that instead. And so they come through this medication that spreading around the world, Ozempic. They talk about Ozempic, and the first medication comes around, I think it was, can it be around 15 years ago, started coming this out in testing around, and in maybe last 3 years it has exploded for the weight loss market. But is it good to use it? Depends on. If you are sick in diabetes, you probably could use that to maybe heal your body together with a low-carb diet. If you don't do low-carb diet and start using this Ozempic, it has some thing that will happen down the road. You can actually read about that. And what happened is that you're creating new fat lipids that is not insulin resistant. So you're getting your insulin sensitive back. And that is the reason that they released this medication for diabetes people that have this disease, or well, say metabolic disease. And is it a good thing? Sort of. For those people, they are good. But if you don't do low carb diet, you will end up with more fat lipids on your body. It creates more fat lipids. And if you don't control your eating 1-2 years and more after that, but let's say 2-year window, you will actually start gaining weight. That's the pitfall for this Ozempic. If you use it for weight loss, you will end up getting more fat in the body and can increase your weight if you don't do low carb. And then they come to the conclusion, why do you need Ozempic? It's better to do the low carb in the first and then don't do the Ozempic. But the thing that happens with Ozempic in your body, we can say this, there is a lot of problems that can end up. And this is digestion system, because the GLP-1 receptor in this medication is normally excreted into your stomach. But this they created, you inject that into your body, and it will end up in your bloodstream, where it attach to your albumin. That's in Swedish egg white. It's a protein that controlling your and making your veins holding the liquid. If you have low albumin level, you get edema. So albumin level is very important, of course, also for your health. If you are really, really obese, you almost every time has low albumin and you will get edema. So albumin level is good to have high. But they are using this, synthesized GLP-1, and it had made it to attach to albumin. So it spreads around the body, and it will react, maybe work for 1 week or 1 or 2 weeks and make you want to eat less food. But it has some pitfalls. It can affect your eyesight. You can actually get blind if you are unlucky. You can get liver damage. You can get problem with your stomach. Real problem. No, it's not nice at all. And most people that trying this medication for weight loss will end to use this medication within 2 years, because also it stopped working. For after about 2 years, if you use that in too high doses, the effect will disappear. That the thing that you don't want to eat, that side effect will stop. So you can start to eat more food again after around 2 years. So it has a limit usable time before it ending up getting, totally useless. So the most people that trying this Ozempic will stop using it within 2 years. And the weight loss, it's about, the most thing I heard around for 1 year is around 28 to 30 pound. That's around 12 to 14 kilo. And maybe people drop 20 kilo in 1-2 years, because most of people don't change the diet. And the thing, I dropped 12 kilo, I said, nice for you. I did that for 1.5 months, but using the food instead, and never be hungry. And so we come to the conclusion that Ozempic is not really a good thing to eat, except for the people that are metabolic sick and got to the stage when they need insulin just to survive. But the insulin, when you start using insulin and are diabetic type 2, you are in the end of your metabolic lifespan, because that's the last step before you're getting really, really sick and maybe need to cut off the legs and whatever happens. So when you're in that stage, you maybe need this. And this medication is for those people, but they also need to start eating low carb when they start using Ozempic. So the only thing you need to think, if you ever want to use Ozempic, it's perfectly fine if you want to. I don't say it's bad or good. But you need to do the low carb together with that. Otherwise, you get even more fat. That's the case. You will gain more weight after you stop eating Ozempic, because you have made more fat lipids. You can say it also fat cells. You're creating more to get your insulin sensitive back. And with more fat cells, you can create more fat. And for most obese people, they are getting into this area when their fat cells are getting too big, so they start leaking fat, so they are insulin resistant in many cases, like I was. I say I was because I'm not insulin resistant anymore. My HOMA score IR today is 1, and you can almost not get better than that. But the fat cells is getting too big when you are really, really fat, and you start leaking fat out, and you are insulin resistant, and etc., etc. The only thing you can do is get your insulin down to get your health back. So they are using this. I will talk about this GLP-1, the last thing, So they have made a synthesized form of GLP-1, and then you inject it in your stomach, right in the fat with a needle. And when it comes to the blood, it's bind to protein that calls albumin, and and it travels around with albumin and around in the body. And the albumin keeps this, synthesized, GLP-1, and just release a little bit in the blood, every minute it drops out little. So not everything is released immediately. It goes very, very slow. So in about 1 week, the storage you have put in your body will get around 50% left. And then you need a new injection. I don't know the price for this in Sweden. I think it's, if you get your hands on it, I think it's around $140 for one injection. It's pretty darn expensive. You can buy really good food for that, meat and fat. I think you can buy at least 2 weeks of supply with that. It's ringing on my bell. Need to see who it is, maybe. If you can excuse me for a while, I need to check out who the fuck is at the door. So excuse me for a while. Well, I'm back. It was my son coming home, so sorry for this. He didn't know about this, so I think he forgot the keys to the door. Yeah, so we go back to that. Excuse me for a while. So this is for 1 week. So you will spend around $100 to $140 each week for an injection, and that's pretty darn expensive. So for a normal Swedish people that live in Sweden, you will spend around maybe 5,500 Swedish crowns. That's equal to around $500 each month for these injections to drop weight. And I would say that's totally stupid to spend your money on that, because if you just listen to my advices, you will drop the weight, and it's totally free. It will not cost you a single penny if you do it the right way. You will still need to eat the food, of course, but you can do it in a better way. So this is how they can do this, is they come to the conclusion they bind it to albumin, is that they find this, how to bind it to a fat lipid in the blood, because fat lipids binds to albumin. And that is what you can see used, but it's getting expensive, and you cannot, in Sweden, you can't get this medication as obese, and you can't use that. In Sweden we have we can pay medication up to a limit, and after that it's getting free for most people, or you pay very little for your medication. But this is not the government will not pay for this. You would need to take it outside and pay for itself. So if you think about that, you spend around $500 each month. That will equal, yes, you can calculate it. It's around $6,000 each year. So in about 2 years, you have spent around, you can travel a lot around the world. You can buy a fucking cow and more than that. So you spend around $12,000 in Sweden in about 2 years, and that is expensive. And I can promise you can do this in way better for you, way better. Now we come to the GLP-1. We'll see if I can just look at my own live, see if I can see. I don't see any comments at all. Yeah. Oh, I can see comments. What? I cannot see the comments on my phone. Something has happened. So, Yep. Just send us timestamp. You can do that, absolutely. I can now see your comments. I cannot see it in the phone. It's something strange. I opened the computer to look at this. So we go to the study. I have put a study on as a link that you can read about. I also have some more studies that I can read and look. This study is, it's 14 years old, and it's tell you about this GLP-1. But now I come to advices, because this is something I have experimented with. First of all, my son, he's young, so he's more healthy than me, of course, and he can tolerate more carbs. That's why he can eat this type of fat, heavy cream. I will talk about this a little later. But for us grown up, we maybe need to stay away from dairies and eat more animal fat. But we can take this study and we can go through it pretty easy and see what happens. And I will try to explain in a simple way how your metabolism is working. I will not go in too deep, because otherwise maybe Bart K will, tell me, stop spreading bad things. But I will simplify this and try to make it understandable for most people. So you're eating food. First of all, you're eating food. You have enzymes in your mouth that start breaking down the food immediately. You have small patches in your stomach that are releasing the acid. And the acid just to have the low pH. And you have your gallbladder and the liver creating bile to help you digest the food. The acid is not for digesting food, it's for kill the pathogens. And when you're eating food and you're eating fat, you create GLP-1. And that's what you have this study. You go down to the GLP-1, and then they test these 3 different fats. And you can see that with the lard, you have a quick operation after around 1 hour. Your GLP-1 will just kick ass. It will go up to around 12 picomole. And it goes pretty slowly up, but maybe 1 hour from baseline around 3 picomole up to around 8 after 2 hours. You start eating just lard, just fat, and after around 2.5 hours you will top that's around 12 picomole, and it will go down after 3 hours and almost back to baseline in 4 hours. And now this is not carnivore, but we take olive oil. And I will say this, I will not say you should eat olive oil, but it has some advantage, because you will not get this kick in, this spike in GLP-1, but you will get a longer GLP-1. It will release pretty quick. It's actually quicker than lard. I don't know study about tallow, but I see this. So you will have an increase from baseline up to 5 picomole within 30 minutes. After 1 minute, you go almost topping. You go up to around 7.8 picomole, and then you will stay there for at least 2 hours. Maybe 1 hour, but then you go slowly down, but you're ending up after 4 hours, you still have GLP-1 over 5 picomole. And this is just the fat if you're just eating olive oil. And then you come to the seed oil, and it's totally useless. With the seed oils, you don't even get over this threshold. You will maybe have a little spike from around 2.5 picomole up to 5.2. Then it goes down quickly, and then it goes slowly down. So you will almost just 1 hour after you eating this safflower oil, you will get a little small spike up to 5.3, 5.4 picomole. Then it goes down again. So it doesn't create GLP-1 to make you satisfied. And now you come to the conclusion. If you don't eat carnivore and you are blending if you're blending, what the hell do I answer? Oh, this is the old thing. Let's see, I can't see the comments at all. What the hell? Now there's something strange going on with this. I don't see any comments. I have people watching this. But anyway, you come to this. Let's go back to this. You have this level of GLP-1, and with the seed oil, you don't get GLP-1, and you come to the conclusion: if you then eat French fry, they are cooked in seed oil today, and you look at this diagram, you will see that if you mix in potato with any of this fat, you don't make GLP-1. You don't get a single tiny difference. You will end up with a low level of GLP-1. If you take the olive oil, your spike will be just around 6 picomole, then it's go way back to baseline. If you eat potato with olive oil, or not even that, yes, it's around that. And you take the lard, you will get with a potato, and with lard you get a spike on 5.8 picomole, then it goes down. And that means that you're mixing in starch with fat, your GLP-1 will get down. You will not feel any satiety. And the one thing more with this, that GLP-1s make your digestion to slow down. Because it slows down, you can digest the food more with a bile. But if you mixing in food, other food with the fat now, because now we talk about carnivore diet and maybe ketogenic diet and why you should not eat carb. But this, even if for the people that not eating carnivore, this is tested on normal people. So by just using lard, you will get pretty high GLP-1. And I will come to the end how to explain how this is a good thing to know about. What happens in the body when you're just eating fat? Normally you get GLP-1. GLP-1 is a signal substance that also has a specific use in your body. It will signalate to your pancreas to create insulin. But if you're just eating fat, there is no reason for the body to create insulin. So you will get a small change in your, if you're measuring the C-peptide, you will see there is something happen when you're eating the fat and nothing else. So, but because you're creating this, GLP-1 by just eating fat now, you are also, tell the body to, make insulin. But the thing is, you don't eating carbs. So therefore, your body has made this insulin a little. Then it's come to going, okay, it doesn't come any carbs. So this is not good. So I need to make a different choice. So suddenly your pancreas start to release glucagon. And that is the opposite thing to the insulin. It wants to create more sugar for you because you was eating fat and we're not eating any carbs. The body needs to tell the body, the liver, to create glucokinase, because the glucagon will stimulate your liver and also the kidneys and everything around the body. It's not just the liver that makes glucokinase. It is created in all bodies together with this, and your mitochondria is working with this also. So the glucagon will stimulate your liver to create glucokinase. And to do that, the mitochondria needs to be activated. And that creating beta oxidation, that creates glucokinase. And the glucokinase, when you do, the mitochondria takes fat, it has a triglyceride, it takes a triglyceride, you get beta oxidation, And the backbone of this triglyceride goes into your liver, and with pyruvate cycle, it made glucose. And it's the glucagon that makes this. So you get an increase in glucagon that makes your liver to make more gluconeos, glucose in the end. The thing with this is that it's a very energy dependable function in the body. So when you're eating a lot of fat, just fat, you will create a massive activation in your mitochondria, because I think it's about 14. Let's see, I have some studies going on around how much it's. Look at the fat acid synthesis that's going on. You need 7 ATP, and you will like this. You will have 14 NADPH plus 14 these chemicals, and it goes 7 ATP also. So your mitochondria needs to do a lot of stuff to create this fat back to glucose. That means that your basal metabolic rate will skyrocketing when you're eating fat, because the body thinks, shit, I will get sugar, because it wants sugar. Your body needs sugar, but it creates it for itself. You do not need to eat it. So this happens, and when you're eating a lot of fat, you're creating this metabolic switch, and by just eating fat. I did this fat fasting for 3.5 days, just a test. I eat 120 grams. You have to calculate this in ounces or whatever you use. I use grams. Hopefully rest of the world will use grams also in the end. So I try to eat, and I eat 120 grams of raw pork fat, lard, you can call that, thin slices, and I eat 120 grams each day. On the day 3, I didn't want to eat the fat. I love this type of fat. I do. I create this pancetta lardo at home with dry salting, and by the day 3, it's more or less impossible to eat it. The body says, no, you have enough. So you create a lot of GLP-1. And the thing is, when you live long time on ketogenic diet, and carnivore is the most extreme ketogenic diet you can eat, actually, because it's so low carb, you creating GLP-1. In normally cases, you have an raised baseline of GLP-1 all the time, but eating just around 120 grams of fat each day, fat fasting, you get so high GLP-1, so your digestion just will slow down. And you think eating just pure fat will make you get, diarrhea. No, it will not happen. It gets the opposite. You get constipated. And you say, what? Yes. I say, this is what happened because I tried this. So when I eat the raw fat only, I get constipated because the GLP-1 goes out and make me not want to overeat at all. And I also started eating, after this, I started eating fat first in a meal and eating slowly. So I had at work time, I eat just 1 meal a day. I ate at work around 35-40 minutes, just the fat. Then I go in for the meal. The thing is that I needed 54 minutes to finish this meal that I put up on photographs in my Instagram or in Facebook, whatever. You will see that the meal are not that big. But because of the fat intake, it makes it impossible to overeat. You almost can't digest all that food or that little food because the fat creating a lot of GLP-1. So your digestion system will slow down. This is also the reason why some people that have irritated bowel syndrome or other diseases that make your digestion goes quick in and you get very pale poop, it's because you have no GLP-1, because you mix in other foods. And that system can be problematic to get started, you get up these levels. And also something that happens in this thing that is also interesting, because if you eat in lard, we come to the thing that, the hunger hormone, ghrelins. And if you're eating just lard, and you can come to this or see this. Then you say you have an in this study I share, then you have this thing. When you start eating just the lard, your ghrelin level will in after around 2 hours drop around. This is measuring in your blood, I think. I will see. I can see exactly how they're measuring this, but you can see this in the diagram here, that you will see that you have about 20% reduced level of ghrelin after eating lard after around 4 hours, and it will not go up. But if you just eat the potato, your ghrelin, you will get more hungry after you eating the potato compared with before the potato. And you just eating lard, you will get around a difference of 200 pg per ml, is just milliliter. And the same thing happens with olive oil. So you will actually even get less ghrelin with olive oil. So if you compare olive oil with lard, in this case, the olive oil wins. It lowers your hunger more. I don't say you should eat olive oil, but it's not bad. But it's for being, if it's a clean product, it's pretty good made. It's comparable with lard. If you look at the diagram on this adenonic acid, so it's very good. Olive oil will be compared with lard, so it's not that bad thing. When you come to the seed oils, the safflower oil, it also do the same thing sort of, but in this case, if you mix that with potato, you get even more hungry. And that things also happen with olive oil. You get even more hungry if you mix that with a potato. So the thing is that when you don't eat the carnivore and you're mixing food and you're eating, omnivore diet and everything, the problem is, people around the world, mostly in Western country today, they feed their kids with a lot of French fries, and they are cooked. This is the potato in the fat, and you can understand why people can overeat, because when you eat French fry cooked in seed oil, you doesn't get any GLP-1, you don't get satiety, you will get more hungry, and this is the reason the digestion go too quick, and the nutrition uptake will be none or less. It will be terrible for your body. So this is a diagram. You can look at this. You can actually look at this diagram for yourself if you want. I share that. And there is also another study. I don't put it up yet, but was done 2019. They had postprandial levels of GLP-1 and GLP-1 glucagon after 2 years of weight loss with a Paleolithic diet and randomized controlled trial in healthy obese women. And the thing is that Paleolithic is, the first step into ketogenic diets is, Paleolithic is the eating stuff that was, is contained with nuts and such thing, but it's a way better eating than the standard American diet, of course. So Paleolithic diet before the carnivores was something I checked at, but I didn't like that idea. But this study was nice to read because the end result was pretty darn good if you compare this to and the weight loss and body weight, fat mass, and what happened under these 2 years with this weight loss. And we'll see if you can find the end results of this, and see the summary was pretty darn good to read. You see here the end result. What the hell? I read it that in my phone pretty before I going live. We'll see that I can see this. And this study is actually the Swedish Council of Work and Life and Social Research ran. So this was founded by our king and Swedish Heart and Lung Foundation. So it's not the big companies that's behind this. As we have a Swedish study done 2019 that's showing that the Paleolithic diet wins totally over standard American diet or standard diet, and they also in the other diet, they reduce the calories, of course, and they do weight loss in the both groups. But the thing is with this, I will see, I can find the discussion. I don't want discussion. I will see the end results. Let's see, I can find that glucose and insulin. But you can see this in this study. They said after 24 months, the Paleolithic wins pretty. It's very, very big difference. The follow-up, we'll see here. The subject and the intervention have previously been described either briefly, healthy postmenopausal women between BMI to 27 to 40, and with the recruiter using the local newspaper. And the study was finished 2010. Exclusion criteria with diabetes or fasting plasma glucose of 7 millimolar up, and also present severe disease treatments. Statin beta blockers was also excluded, so was not in this. They should be more or less healthy. And I will see the end result, because this is the same thing, because they're measuring the GLP-1, and the end result, where is it? I read it on the phone for 1 hour ago. And Paleolithic diet, if you look at the energy intake, they can eat way more food, and less even, I will see less, and also have more GLP-1. But they have the thing is the control diet, body weight and fat mass. The Paleolithic group fat mass compared to baseline decreased by 90% after 6 months and by 40% after 24 months. If you can then take the calorie restriction they did, decrease of fat mass was more pronounced than in the Paleolithic diet. And the control diet group just decreased 10% of 6 months and 9% after 24 months. So they mean that you have a way bigger results in Paleolithic diet, and that is not very, very low carb, but it's showing that eating more ancestral food is way better. But the thing is that they have a lot of more GLP-1 in the Paleolithic diet. That means there's something problem going on with the food people eat today. There is a problem, because the seed oil, the processed food, will downregulate GLP-1. So you should not mix food. That's the worst thing you can do. And now I will come to start to talk about my son and what we've done since late March or April month. Maybe I think it was in the beginning of April. I give him unlimited access to heavy cream. And I have a big account to buy a lot of heavy cream. He drinks about 5 to, I will say in cups instead. So around 2 to 3 cups of heavy cream every day. And that's equal to around 5 to 7.5 deciliters of heavy cream each day. And you should think that is a lot. Yes, of course, a lot. And it's also carb, but he's 14 years old. He eats less carb than most youth in his age. But the thing is, when he started doing high fat, and he also eats the raw meat like I do, his body weight decreased even faster. So today, he's under 70 kilo. I think he's down to 68 kilo. And he's looked like an athlete. Most people that see him, we go to the bathhouse, take a swim, they think he's around 20 years old, and he's 14 years old. He has muscles. He's getting skinny by increasing the fat intake. And he eats this fat before I come home. So when I serve him food when I come home, he can't overeat at all. He's on the limits, I just give him meat and some animal fat, most or less we eat an Ukrainian specialty, salo, depending where they come from, and also Italian lardo. So that's pork fat, and the pork fat from Italy is superb. It's from animals that eating just pasteurized and pasteurized, we maybe call that in English. And that fat is so high in vitamin D, so it's you can get vitamin D level that is kicking ass. So they are on the limits to be high. So that's a good source for vitamin D over the winter. Buy fat from pigs that has been outside in the summer. That fat is nutritional and nutritious. It contains around 40,000 international unit per 100 grams of pork fat. And I can assure you can pretty easy eat lard from this animal because it's so good. Of course, it's expensive. It is, but you don't need to do any supplements. Just eat this lard from Italy, or if you find it in the United States. But the Italians can do this fat very, very good, tasteful. So with my son, we've done this, and he dropped weight, even more weight, and I started doing the same thing. And I could maybe not dropping a lot of weight, but I started growing muscles instead. Way more muscles now on me, comparable around 5 months back. So the measurement goes down, and maybe not the scale maybe not move that fast, but the body competition, this measurement is getting better and better. So people today not think I'm fat because I have the clothes on, this doesn't look fat. And I can check my mirror. It doesn't look to be obese anymore. I'm still obese. I have around 20 kilo more to drop before I'm satisfied, but it takes the time. It will take the time. I have no hurry to do this. You shouldn't stress your body through something. And now I come to the conclusion, why, how you can do things. If you start eating carnivore, or interested in start eating carnivore, if you're new at carnivore, you can't do this because you need to get your insulin level down. That's an important thing to do. I need to drink some water. So, if you listen to this, you need to get your insulin level down first. So you need to start. You start the carnivore diet. I will, maybe do this for 20 more minutes more, maybe 25. Then you can make some questions if you have. You can start eating carnivore today. Absolutely. Slowly go into this. And you should prime your body first. You need to eat nutrition. You need to learn about that meat and fat is good for you. So the first, 8 to 12 weeks, just eat meat, fat, eggs, whatever you like in this thing. But don't overdo it, and don't try to mimic the guys or like me that has done this. Tomorrow it's 5 years. The 16, it's 2 days before I celebrate 5 years at Carnivore. So don't do exactly what I do today. You need to adapt to it. And when you're adapting to it, it takes around 1.5 to 3 months before you can go full in. And when you are there, then you can start this. First of all, you need to try to start fasting. Fasting you should do start beginning with 18, 19, 20, 24 hours there. So you get mixing. Don't eat the same time every day. Just do this fasting so you get your insulin level down. And you can maybe not use ketone strips, but it's a good thing anyway, because I will say like this now. If the insulin is going low enough for you to start eating like I recommend soon, then you should have, after 14 hours fast, should have a ketone level over 0.6 millimole. If you are not there, you should not increase your fat intake, because if your insulin baseline is raised, you will gain weight by eating fat. Your insulin must go down before you can get to this recommendation I will do. So you just have to start fasting, and you can do this for 1.5 to 2 months. So let's say you have 1 year now. From you start, first 2 or 3 months, need to get nutrition in. So you have to prime your body. Then you go in for 1-2 months when you start doing this fasting schedule I talked about before, that you're eating every second day, 2 meals within 5 hours. I recommend 5 hours. If you can do it in 4 hours, perfectly fine. That means that you start eating and stop eating, and should do your feeding within this 5 hours window 2 times. one time it's hard to get all the nutrition in. Then you go in for the fasting for maybe 36 to 42 hours, depending on how much you and situation you have when you can eat home, at work, whatever. Then do the same thing, do the fasting for 5-6 hours. No, it's the feeding together. So you eat on Mondays, Wednesday, Friday, and Saturday, and you fast all the time. You just have 2 meals within 5 hours. So it's feeding time every second day. Do this for 1 month and test with a ketone strip. After 14 hours fast, you should have 0.6. If you have over 0.6 millimole of ketones, you don't have to spend a lot of money to do it, because I've done all the tests. I know what happened with the body. So if you're doing this fasting schedule every week for 1 month, and you're coming under this, this threshold, and your ketone levels is over 0.6, then your C-peptide has going low enough for you to start dropping weight after 14 hours fast. Then you can do 1 month more with this fasting schedule. Just do it. Then you've done this for 2 months, eating every second day. That means you do around 138 hours fast each week. And then the other hours you're eating 2 meals within a 5 to 6 hours eating window. So you will actually fast 138 hours per week. And I promise you, you will drop weight if that is the goal, because it's about weight loss. For most people, they start in carnivore, not everyone. It's a lot of people that are obese that need to drop weight. And you can do this even if you don't need to drop a lot of weight. This is a health, you can win a lot of things with your health by doing the fasting. Fasting is really, really good for your body and your immune system, and you will reset the body. You can also increase your fasting some days and maybe doing 72 hours fast. If you do that, that is very good for your autophagy, because you will get into high autophagy with 72 hours fast, and you will also entering your reformation of growth hormones. So that's a good thing to do. But doing this fasting, then you are in that, then you will start eating like this. I will recommend this. And when you start eating carnivore, everybody talk about a lot of fat, and that is good for you. But you should also think that if you have a baseline insulin that level is high, you can gain weight even on carnivore. So fix this with the fasting. But now come to the feeding. After this around 5-6 months, you start eating like this. Start eating, try to get used to eating lard. Prefer you can eat, there is specialty in, you can buy raw lard and just salt it for 2 days and just slice it up in thin slices and eat it raw. The raw fat is way better for you than rendered fat. It makes your body digest it even slower, and that you make it a tide of more time, and the ghrelin level will get even lower. But start eating fat. You can start fat fasting also. So you can actually do the same fasting, but you're eating fat on the fasting day. That will increase your GLP-1, and your digestion system will slow down a lot. So if you have an IBD-IBS syndrome, say goodbye to them, because your digestion will slow down and your digestion will get increased, and your nutrition uptake will get even better. But then you can go into doing like this. Start eating fat 1 hour or 2 hours before the main meal. Take 100 grams of lard or tallow, preferably eaten raw. That's the best thing. You can also eat butter. Of course, if you're young, you can do heavy cream, whatever. It's just the fat you need, a lot of fat. So do around 100 grams of raw lard, 100 grams of butter, whatever. Butter is getting dissolved very quick, so it can get too quick for your body. It can go into the digestion system pretty quick. If you eat raw lard, it will stay in your stomach way longer. It needs hours to digest, because you need to have the bile breaking down this fat, and this fat is raw. So it's binded in some, the fat is not just pure fat, it has all around it. It's also proteins in it, but it's not that much. So you will need to digest the system. So your GLP-1 will go up. And because you are at a carnivore diet, you also have increased GLP-1 if you've done this for 4 or 5 months and has more or less taken away the carbs. By eating fat 1-2 hours before your real meal, your GLP-1 will be high. And then you eat more fat together with the meat. You get even more GLP-1, so it will be impossible to overeat. And that maybe be that you can't maybe eat 2 meals. That can be the case. And don't worry about that. The thing is that the fasting will be like nothing for you. You will be totally stuffed for at least 35 hours. It will be impossible for you to be hungry because the hunger will disappear. You get a low ghrelin level, you get high leptin level, you get also a high GLP-1 level, and your digestion that you eat getting slowly out. So you will have the digestive system full, and the body start to breaking down this food slow. So when you're ending up in your, small intestines, it will be totally dissolved. You will get all the nutrition, and your poop will get less. It will be not much poop also because you digest the food fully. And you do that. Start to eating fat 1-2 hours before the real meal, because fat normally doesn't break the fast like you normally can say. It has effect on your fasting, of course, but it will not affect your blood sugar in a bad way. It will not affect your insulin in a bad way. It will increase your metabolic rate because it will stimulate glucagon that stimulate your glucokinase to create more glucokinase and glucose that also take in the fat, making more ketones, because the body doesn't get proteins, it gets fat. So they said, we need to kick up the ketone levels because we need also the glucose. So by using the body fat to create ketones, you get the backbone of the glycerol that will be created as glucose. So the body uses more energy to create glucose. So that's why you will drop weight a lot. You will increase your fat loss tremendous. Study says up to 2.3 times basal metabolic rate if you're going into ketosis and this type of eating. I had a woman that write to me in my Facebook and says, I didn't know what happened, but when I talk about this in Swedish, in Facebook, she said to me, now I understand, this is like a big news, it's like what happened, how can this work? And the thing is, I tried the same thing. I drop weight when I just eating fat. I increased my, the weight loss got even quicker eating just fat. So not just doing the fasting, I just eating fat under fasting. And this thing surely will increase your metabolic rate. So people say, okay, but if you're eating more fat before, doesn't you gain weight? No, you do not. Because you increase in your beta oxidation, because your body needs to do glucokinase, because, hey man, you have eaten something, but it was not carbs. And you fool me to create some insulin. Therefore, I need to kick in some glucagon that will stimulate the glucokinase. And this is an energy-dependent system in the body. It needs a lot of ATP to create this energy. And that was your goal is you need to create more ATP. And ATP is the mitochondria, and it will take this energy from the fat. And this is the case that is the reason why you increase your basal metabolic rate, increasing your fat intake, and just by eating fat, nothing else. And on your eating days, start eating fat a little earlier, because then you will have the GLP-1 at the highest. So when you're eating, like I do, raw meat and raw fat, and you start eating this raw fat, 2 hours before, your GLP-1 be up there in the sky, and you eating this, and the digestion just block you. You will end up with it getting full pretty quick, and the digestion goes slowly. So you do not get this IBS syndrome anymore, because you can still have that even if you eat carnivore, because you need to learn the body how to slow down the digestion. And eating carnivore like this, that will make your poop brown. It will not get ketogenic poop. You probably heard about ketogenic poop. I read about that, because it will get light yellow-ish, brownish, sand colored, they call that keto poop. That will not happen in this, but you will kick out, brown thing. It will be compact. You can get constipated eating like this, even if you increase the fat intake. So it's not the fat intake normally, it's when you're eating proteins and blend it with fat, too much fat, and just when you're eating that, your GLP-1 will not go up that high. So you will get this quicker digestion system, and that will not take up the nutrition. So you will end it, that fat will not get uptake in your system. It will go undigested into small intestine, and you will get diarrhea. That's because the digestion goes too quick. But if you kick in with the fat 1-2 hours before the meal, your GLP-1 will be high, and your food will stay in the stomach longer, and your bile production will, because you will kick out all bile, because eating just pure fat, you will need bile. And then you will have 2 hours, your system will make new bile, it will reuse the bile and circulate it. So you have all this acid, you have this going on in your stomach, you have not digested fat. So after 2 hours, you're kicking in with more fat and more, and you come in with meat also. Then you have your digestion system ready for the meat, and you will digest that perfectly fine, and you will get more nutrition. And that's how you also get, you will see the change in the body. For me, you maybe not can see this now on me because the camera is not that good. I use my phone. Maybe could put in the charging cable also. We'll see. Maybe not dropping out of energy. Forgot to put in the charger. But if you do this, your digestion of the nutrition will be better. You will increase the nutrient uptake. And with the increased fat intake, you will create more bile. And the more bile you produce, the more nutrition uptake you will have. So doing this will probably change the thing for you a lot. And you will not get the diarrhea from eating more fat. The diarrhea is just because you don't get bile enough when you're eating a lot of fat with the meat. You will not have bile enough to digest the fat, and therefore the rest of the fat you don't digest will go in the small intestine and will kick your ass the day after you get diarrhea. So increase your fat intake 1 to 2 hours before you eat your main meal. You will get higher ketone levels. You will also get more bile production and digest the food way better, and your IBS syndrome will disappear. And together with raw meat and raw fat, this will be perfectly, because with more bile, you will also digest the meat way better. So now we'll see. Why do I not get any questions? Can you not do any questions? I don't think. Can you write anything? Have I stopped? No, it can be. I try to write. Because now you have a chance to ask any questions. I use my other account. I have more accounts on YouTube, therefore. So, yeah, it works. So now you have questions time, because I will not talk more about this thing. Hopefully people will understand what I talk about. You can look at the study I just sent up in the description. But this GLP-1, you can read it. You can see the diagrams, and you will probably understand pretty easy what the hell is going on. This study was spread by Benjamin Bickman around 2-3 weeks ago. But he says, well, like a blink an eye. But I don't suggest you should eat just pure fat, but he just do that. But he can't tell people to do that because he doesn't get he doesn't do any medication advices online. But he do that. We know you can increase your fat intake. And the thing is now, eating just pure fat before the meal is the same thing as doing the Ozempic. It's way better. Eating just raw fat will not do any harm, not any harm at all at your body. You will have your blood, the same thing. You will not getting blind. You will not getting problem with your liver. You will not getting problem with hypoglycemia. Whatever you have can get with Ozempic, you will not get this problem. If you look at the Ozempic, what you can happen with Ozempic is that you have a problem with the digestion, and also you can get the problem with the acute inflammation in your pancreas, so you can actually get even worse. So if you not have diabetes today, you can get diabetes type 1 if you take Ozempic. It's fully possible. So think of that. You can also get hypoglycemia, so you can get low blood sugar. You can get diabetic eyesight problem, retinopathy it's called. You can get this with Ozempic also. So it's not that good, and you can't use it together with other medications sometimes. And it's pretty darn expensive. So for all those people taking Ozempic and spend 2 years around 120,000 kronor, and you compare it to in dollars, it will be around $11,000, $12,000 in 2 years. You can buy many cows with that, many pigs. You can more or less fill the freezer for 5 years, more or less, and you can live a darn good life. And I can assure you, if you're doing the fasting thing with eating and just do this for the fat, you can do this for the fat thing, and also just eat fat on the fasting, you will drop weight even more. So fat fasting for me probably the new way to drop the lost weight, because fat fasting also increases the hormones in level. If you look at my testosterone level today, it's comparable to a young 18-year-old guy. In the United States, measurement is the last time I tested testosterone is 1,420 in testosterone. Is equal to 34 in Sweden. And it's more than the normal range. I have a higher than the normal range. And that has made totally change in me, in my look, in my body. As you can see, I still have some white hair, but you will see it come black. I start getting color here, and I also get new hair in the eyebrows that's getting black. So I'm getting my color back in hair. I start growing hair over the arms, legs, the back. I never had hair there, and that's because of the testosterone level, and also because the cholesterol level go up. Your body needs cholesterol to live. And for me, the doctor says before I started doing this weight loss and change the diet, I always have low cholesterol level, and they say, oh, you have good fat lipids, but I feel like shit. And today the LDL is not super high, of course not. We'll see that LDL conversion. Obviously I can do that. So we'll see exactly what I have. See how much I have in. I will convert my measurement. Let's see that, so you can see what I have today. I know my LDL level is 5 point. What the fuck? Excuse my language. See if I had this. So we can do this. my if I look at the American measuring, my triglyceride is down to 45, and that is not high. And I was big, and I have a higher triglyceride level before. Let's see if I can get this conversion to work. It would be nice to on the calculator. Let's see, because it was fun to show that cholesterol conversion calculator. Consent LDL cholesterol 5.1 calculate. So my high cholesterol, the healthcare system say it's high in Sweden. It's today 197 milligram per deciliter. This is what happened to me the last 2 years. I go from low cholesterol up to 197.22. That is, I don't take any medication at all. Totally off everything. I live on painkillers for decades because I have this problem. If you listen to the interview with Dave Mack, you maybe understand I have been multi-sick for a long time. And I also talked to a woman that live in Sweden on Instagram, and I will probably go in and try to get, in Sweden you can send a remiss for things you maybe think you have, but the thing is I didn't get any. I got into the system around 3-4 years ago. I think it was after COVID. It was 3 years ago, because I have this idiopathic nerve pain and numb fingers, numb toes, burning sensation, and also got muscle was weak. So they think I had some disease, but eventually when I start to change the diet, I go into fasting and also take away 100% all the grains and everything, this problem disappear. But today I almost or less, because her problems she had or even have today is 100% the same what I going through. So my goal is to maybe get an fix and scan of my brain and spinal. I will tell this loud out because I believe I maybe have had, I will say had, not have anymore, or maybe it comes back. But she was diagnosed with multiple sclerosis, I think it was 2 years ago, and she had the same sign, same problem I have. And this thing I had comes, in before. It's not happened this year. It didn't happen the last year. The last time I had this seizure was 2022 in spring, winter, springtime. Was 5 months with this nerve pain and the burning sensation. It feels like you want to fucking chop your fingers off. For people to understand how the pain feel, it was you go out in the winter without any gloves, and it's like 25 degrees minus Celsius. That's freaking cold, because I've done this when I was younger, and I almost froze my fingers, and they got damn white and almost bluish. And I come in, it's burn, it's hurting in the fingers. And I didn't done, I was around 7-8 years old. And I go into the toilet and pull on the water and let the warm water go right over my hands. And that pain, I will not forget it. The thing is, that pain is what exactly I live with for around 5 to 6 months each year. Even before the carnivore, I think it lasts 10 years. They come in seizure for 3, 4, 5 months. I think it had something to do with the food, with the allergies. But today, after talking to her yesterday, I come to the conclusion maybe can be something else, because she had the same thing, with this, and I have helped her, and that's woman. I given her advices, over Instagram, and she listened to me and started taking supplement that I recommend her, and she getting rid of the problem, and she has diagnosed with multiple sclerosis, MS. And she had exactly the same, because I talk just before I know she has multiple sclerosis, I talk about this problem on the interview, and she says to me, this is exactly what you can read, and she sent me all her blood works and also the doctors, what it tell about her disease, and about the blood works I got. And she talks about her disease with doctors, and it's the same thing. So if I do this scanning of the brain and to find damage that are multiple sclerosis, in that case, I have cured it, because today is 2 years going by since I last time had this seizure. So I've been free from that the last 2 years. But I'm interested to see that if it is that, the thing I taking this up now for everyone at YouTube, I can, maybe it's risky, I don't know about, I don't tell people this is a cure. But for her, this feeding I done for myself, how I eat, she has copamine, and she has do new MRI, I think she says in the spring or last year, and she has started healing her brain. The seizure, they get the nerve damage with the MS, and she has started healing. And my point of view of this is to see if I had this problem, so I will take this MRI if I can get it, see if I had those damage now, because you can see that if you have multiple sclerosis with a damage in the brain, in the spine, you will see it's like it will be leaving marks after that, because all my seizures and all the problem is exactly as her. So I'm not getting afraid of one disease more. It's not about that. It's that I don't have get this back for 2 years. I live with this for 10, 12, 13 years. It's starting getting this more and more advanced. And after this COVID thing is just got crazy. So I believe that it can be. I will not say it is. I need to have an MRI done at the brain and spinal to see if this is the case. If it is the case, this type of feeding I done has healed me. And I have this woman, she's 2 years older than me, also start healing. And if I had this problem, and it was this we can see with MRI, then we are 2 people. If I have this, we are 2 people healing. So therefore, I want to do this MRI scanning to see if that problem was that. Because then we can start help other people having this problem. It's about the food. And, I can, YouTube is, you can write in Swedish, not a problem. I can answer in English. People that see this tomorrow can use translate, so they can read your message anyway. So this is thing I will think about. My goal is to help people. I don't do this for money. I don't have any commercial. I don't sell any product. I could earn money on this, of course. I recommend people buy stuff at Amazon. I could make money on that, but I'm not interested in that. My goal is not to, take people's money. If I can help 10 people the nearest 2 years, then it's 10 people I help. I don't need to help 1 million people, because those 10 people can spread to other people and they can help others people, So my goal is not to be a star in this heaven and, everyone see me. Of course, they can follow me. They can see this. I got more followers than, it just freaking kicked up last week after Candy Berry did a short video about my life. And some comments was funny, but you cannot wait this much. It's impossible. The thing is that people don't understand about my case is that I was not a skinny guy before getting obese. I was at the gym 6 days per week, training heavy weightlifting. I go out, I work with car wrecking, I lift in engine, I lift in cars. I could lift a freaking Volvo 245 in the front. That's over 500 kilo in lifting in the front up. I have my brother see this, so he can, this was in the 90s. So I was lifting heavy weightlifting. My goal was to start to, I had a goal to be training for world's strongest man. I have that body. Yesterday I was at work. We have some guy that train a lot, and he said to me, you have pretty much down, you have much muscle because you don't look that fat. You look like you have a lot of muscle. So he come to me and push me in the chest and says, man, you are pure muscle. It looked like I have fat here, but it's not fat. This is pure muscle. So I have all the muscles is still there since I stopped training. I stopped training 2001 in January, 3rd January 2021 because of a car accident. I was supposed to break my neck in the car accident, but because of the training, my muscle take up most of the hit. I was a little too tall for that. I drive my father's car, and I didn't want to interrupt his seat because this was an old Volvo. And so I sit with the head like this because I'm big, I'm tall. I was 100 before the car accident. I was 196 centimeters. I think it's 6.2, 6 foot and 2 inches. I think it was in American. So I was tall, near 2 meters long. And in the car accident, I hit my fucking head straight up in the sunroof we had in this old Volvo. I kick out the sunroof with my head. So all the screws was off. And the sunroof was out kicking with my head because I sit like this and drive, and there come a car from nowhere out on the wrong side of the road, and I smash in. I think that car had come around 55 miles per hour or a little more, and I drive around 33, 34, and there was no brakes. I didn't have the time. It was so quick, so I smashed it without any brakes. I didn't hit any brake because it was impossible. It just in 1.5 seconds, it just says smack. And I was 3 years in doing, training for my back pain. I have 8 inherited discs, in the back. I got dropped 6 centimeters, just disappear in the back. And the insurance, system in Sweden, in Sweden we call it Försäkringskassan. We have an insurance from the government in Sweden, so we're not the same as the United States. And that woman that works there and said after 1 year that you can't do this anymore, we want to give you pension. I was 26 years old, and they want to give me permanent pension because of the damage. And I said, no, I want to get back. I want to get healthy again. But instead, I got even worse because I trained a lot before. I eating food like a fucking horse. Excuse my language. I eat a lot of food. So when I stopped training, I didn't stop the feeding. So I started gaining weight. So when the accident happened, I was more or less down 115 kilo of pure muscles. This is the case. People remember me back then. They says, you was Hulk. You look like a Hulk. I have 47 centimeters around my arm. I don't know if you can see that. Look at this. I have fat as skin is almost here. So I have 47 centimeters around the biceps. When I was training most of my time, I spent 6 days, 3 hours per day at the gym, 6 times per week for over 9 years. And before that, I training ice hockey, soccer, other things I maybe didn't have, was not good for me to do, but I did that anyway. I just give a damn about the doctors. If you listen to the diseases, I was born And when I was 6.5 years old, I got this leg calvé disease, this necrosis in the hip, and that thing has haunted me for all my life. 2 years ago, no pain. I'm free from pain in my hip for the first time since I was 6.5 years old. And I also had arthritis come in 2018, in Swedish arthros. And because I damaged the knee of the work, they photographed this knee and it was gone. I had no arthros, it was gone. And it should be the same with the hips. It's also better, or it's, I'm pain-free. Now I need to see what you write, because when eventually I got some questions. We'll see here. I don't take medication. You should not take medication for blood fat. That's pure bullshit. Statins is not helping you in any way. That is something that kills you slowly. What statin does, it makes your body more or less muscles. Statins will break down your muscles, so that's not a good thing. The thing you need to get your blood pressure down is about getting your insulin level down. That's the thing you can do quickest, and increasing your salt intake while you're decreasing your sugar intake, because it's the sugar that's making you getting high blood pressure. It's not the salt. I was fooled by the health system to take away the salt 2003. I think it was 2002. I wanted to drop weight because I gained a weight after the accident. And I wanted to drop weight, and I was weighing, I think I was 128 kilo when I got into the healthcare system. I want to drop weight. I want to go down to 100 kilo. And because I couldn't train in this gym anymore because of the pain. So I was fooled to eat low salt, and I was not eating that much salt before that either. But the case is that low salt diet causing high blood pressure is the opposite. So we get fooled by the health system. When I eat in Carnivore, I come into the healthcare system and take blood pressure up the hospital because they're testing my neurologic problem, and also checking the circulation so I didn't get neuropathy and diabetes problem. I did that 2022, and I had 180 200 in blood pressure. Of course, I was bad shape after the COVID, but that was a lot. So what should I do? So I start eating. In Sweden we have seltin. It's like new salt. So it's like 40% sodium. It's 50% potassium. Or no, it's the opposite. It's 50% sodium, 40% potassium, 10% of what they call that name. It's magnesium. It's not magnesium, normal magnesium. It's like bitter magnesium. I call that sulfate, magnesium sulfate or something. It has some magnesium to make it a little bit bitter, so it tastes almost like normal salt. But this magnesium, it's okay in this small amount, but it's the potassium you want. And I eat that. I start increasing my salt intake because I need to go back to the healthcare and make more blood pressure tests. The first blood pressure test was lower, and then eating more seltin, and going to the next test after 1 week, and it was even lower. And I started eating even more salt, and the blood pressure was even lower. And after the last 5 tests, I said, no, you have a little bit higher blood pressure, but it's getting better. So they asked me what I've done as I increase my salt intake. Okay, what eating? Oh, seltin. Oh, no, but that's not a problem. Then I got my hands on this book, The Salt Fix. I had that home. I start reading that, and I come to the conclusion I need to eat sea salt, real sea salt, and that was where this journey starts, an advancing journey. I will stop this now. I will answer these questions. Was it hard for you to change your life? No, it was not. problematic, because as I recommend people today, if you want to change, I recommend people go that live in Sweden or Nordic country to, even if you are English, you can go into this. Carnivore Nordic is way better than World Carnivore Tribe, because there is not such people that are judging you. Because I recommend people so slowly starting it. You can't just change the diet from one day to another. Your body will not function, because you have mitochondria you need to learn. They need to renew itself. And the problem is, when you have high blood pressure, you also have a high insulin level. That's the case, because with the high insulin level, you're increasing your system. You have this RAAS system, renin-angiotensin system, that is controlling your kidneys. And with low salt intake, normally cases, you increase your insulin to increase your blood pressure to reabsorb more sodium. That's how the body works. And why eating low salt, you increasing your blood pressure, because your body want to reabsorb the more sodium, because you don't eat the sodium as much in your food, because you need to go salt restriction, because you're eating a lot of sugar. A lot of sugar creating more insulin that holding on water and salt in your body, but they are not in the body. It's gone through your veins and ending up and creating edema. So by decreasing your insulin level, you get the mitophagy to kick in, because when you eat, every time you eat, you're starting a metabolic reaction in your body. I will move my ass back because I'm sitting, not that comfortable in this chair. But when you're eating, you create insulin, and that controls your mitophagy, because insulin has a function that will activate your mitophagy. With an increase in insulin, I don't say you need to spike it, but you increase your insulin. Problem is that when you increase your insulin and your insulin baseline is raised, you will be in mitophagy. You will not create a new mitochondria, because the old mitochondria that's not functional well, normally case it will be renewal, and it will be, going through the stage and get, new and get more effective. But with high insulin, this will not function. So you're ending up with mitochondria dysfunction. And your mitochondria will not create the ATP for you that you need. And therefore you are dependent on eating more sugar, because more sugar will get more energy from, and your mitochondria will work on sugar. But when you start eating meat, that is a little bit different, and also the fat, you will not create enough ATP. And you will get problem getting energy from the food you eat. So therefore, by switching the food, you need to do it slowly. And you cannot start eating fat immediately. You need to increase your fat intake slowly. You need to change your diet slowly. So first of thing, take away all the starch and sugar. Don't eat potato, don't eat rice, don't eat anything that is grain. Take away all that crap. Go in keto, start keto, start to look at real keto. Don't do this sugar, stuff, they use allulose or another, supplement thing that tastes sweet. Get away from that crap. Start eating, low oxalate, low carb things that is in keto world. And then you start increasing your fat intake, because you need to learn your body to use fat. And adding more and more fat, adding more and more meat, and take away. Because if you look at Carnivore Nordic, for me, if you find old photos from me, 2019 I started this, my plates was fully carnivore. It was, I had this greens on it, and I adapted to it. And I said, excuse me for this, I started eating more meat, and I used gravies and everything. And I started buying Brazilian meat, because I think it was more expensive to eat Swedish meat. And because I was unemployment, I didn't have that much money, so I started to get my hands on the cheapest meat I could. So when you change that slowly and learn your body to adapt to this food and you let your mitochondria work. The thing is that I told you before in the beginning that your mitochondria will not function well because of insulin. So you are in like an vacuum state now because it's what do you call that maybe these are two sides of this. You cannot get your mitochondria to renew itself because of the insulin, and therefore you need to heal the body before you can do the other stuff. So first of all, your goal is to get your insulin down. So first of all, you need to prime your body and start eating whole food, meat-based. Let the nutrition come in, eat more fat. Do this for 2-3 months. And when you've done that, you go over and start to making the fasting. And when you're making the fasting, you will decrease your blood pressure. Fasting always decrease your blood pressure. That's the case. So when you've done that, then you can go over, like I tell you about the fat intake and do that. The thing is with the craving of sugar and junk food is that when your body, now this is carbonated water, by the way. And when it gets a bit warmer, it starts to release carbonate. The thing is that you will learn, your body will adapt to fat. And when you learn to like butter, like heavy cream, I drink heavy cream. It's not a problem for me today because I'm not insulin resistant. But I drink heavy cream. I can fill up a glass with ice and heavy cream and drink it like a drink. That's freaking awesome. You probably like it that day you start liking fat like I do today. I will answer your question, Philip, a little later, but I will do this with the gurkan, the cucumber. So the craving will disappear, and the thing you can do when you have cravings, of course, I've been there, done that. I was not clean the first 2 years. I can assure you that I wasn't clean. I had my sheets maybe 1 time, 2 times per month. I have 1 time per week, sometime little sheet here and there. Till I come to the conclusion of the COVID infection, and I come back to life and got this seizure got increased. I go to the doctor and I got the tests and say, hey man, you are very allergic to something. And I start to making more tests and I find out, hey man, I'm not gluten, but I have something else. It's called gliadin. So it's even worse than gluten. Gluten is just 30% of this protein. The gliadin is 70%. The problem is gliadin is in more or less all veggies. And they are very like each other. For me, it's impossible. I can eat some. Of course, I can eat some. Not grains. That's impossible. That make me sick instant. I can feel grains. If it grains in the food, if something happened 2 weeks ago at work, they gave me meatloaf. Got free food from your work. I think meatloaf I can probably eat, not a problem. And it took me 5 minutes of shit. It contained grains in any format because I start feeling bad in the body. And I ended up in a fucking toilet for 6 fucking hours in the night with cramping and diarrhea, and it was over. It was not sickness. It was because of these fucking grains. And I had this problem before. As long as I stay away, I can't eat. I can't even drink. In Sweden, we have this thing we can drink in Christmas and in the Eastern. It's in Swedish påskmust. It's Coca-Cola can't sell Coca-Cola in these 2 weeks. One around Christmas and around this Eastern celebration. Then we have this must. It's a beverage in Sweden, and there is light beverage, and I liked this when I was younger. I tried this at this Christmas to drink a little bit of that. And I got problem because it's made from some fermented corn or something, and it was enough to me because it's the same thing you make beer from. And I got seizure from that, feeling fucking bad, and I got the flare-ups with the eczema, and also the lips start swelling on me, so I get an anaphylactic shock from it. So that was not nice things to happen. But when you can do it like this, I would recommend you to this. If you change the diet, if you feel the cravings, take for you maybe a half teaspoon of sea salt, Celtic sea salt, or if you can get your hands on American pink salt, not pink salt, it's what fucking name is it? I buy that from Sweden, English company. I can buy that way cheaper than the other brand in the United States from Utah. It's calling the pink salt, or the American pink salt, I can't call it. And just take salt in water. Carbonated water works perfectly fine, and drink salt water. Every time you get some craving for sugar, drink salt water, because it's salt you want, not sugar. And you can drink water. Now we'll end up in Philips. You have eaten animal base with some fruit and honey, but have got serious in the scalp and behind the ears, and the inputs. Yeah, the input is that the eczema you got is probably more or less, if you're eating meat-based diet, and you have taken away all the high oxalate thing in life, and you're more or less, so let's say you have 80-90% meat-based. Carnivore is from 70% and up, and the rest should not be sugar. It should be ketogenic, of course. But if you eat in very low oxalate today, you will get oxalate dumping, and that will create eczema. And today, would I do this fasting I did for 1.5 years? No, not that, because it was painful to fast, because not of the fast, it was painful because of the oxalate dumping. And today I know I could even get the kidneys problem doing that, because if you have severe oxalate dumping, it can damage your kidneys. For me, it was, I just pee out big crystals in the toilet, actually sounded like small particles of sand hitting the toilet. And the pee was like, sometimes was more or less white, yellow white, something was, you can't see through the urine, and the smell was terrible. And the thing is, the oxalate dumping also has another problematic thing, because the body wants to get rid of the oxalate when you are not eating them. So the body says, now we get rid of that crap, and you increase your dumping. It takes calcium out, it takes potassium, it takes sodium. You will dump all these electrolytes. So when you are doing oxalate dumping like I did, you need to increase your salt intake tremendous. I eat 40 grams of salt each day for 1.5 years. I started 2022 in August month, increasing my salt intake to 25 grams. And I started to do the fasting 1st November 2022. I did double fasting. I did 3 days eating, and then I did 3 days and start doing fasting more. Yes, cloudy urine, but this is getting even worse, because you can see the particles, some are floating in the urine. That's oxalate calcium stones that can form in the urine. So what you can do, this is not carnivore, but you can actually take some lemon juice, not much, but take some in water and drink it, because lemon juice will dissolve calcium oxalate stones, so you're not getting calcium oxalate stones in your kidneys. That's not a good thing. It hurts also. So it's oxalate dumping. I didn't read about that. Today I know, shit, that was pretty dangerous to do, because it's dangerous. And I was, freaking out about something wrong with my kidneys. It was cloudy, it was foaming, it was everything, all the thing bad that can happen with all disease you can get in your kidneys. I think, but shit, is my kidneys start, fall apart and, get destroyed, because I get kidney damage when I have the COVID. I should tell you about that. My kidneys was so bad. I need to stand up for a bit here. Sitting better. I got kidney damage, after the COVID, and because after the COVID, I get double-sided pneumonia from mycoplasma. I didn't tell Dave that. I forgot about it. So I survived the COVID, but I almost died of the pneumonia. I was quiet pneumonia. They will come around 4 weeks after I survived the COVID, that I was sick for 17 days. 17 days with 40 degrees fever, fully loaded with Alvedon, it's NSDA. And also I use this, I think it's called Iprene, even in the United States. So I was severe sick after COVID, but I got even worse. I almost, die. I forgot to tell about this, but I told this, people know about this. I was in the hospital 2021 in May of 19, because I started seeing double rows and my eyesight start to get diminished. I didn't see so good anymore. And I was in terrible shape after COVID. I could walk around 20 meters because I still was pretty obese then. I was over 220. I think I scaled in at COVID 228 or 238 kilo in 2021. And I dropped 17 kilo when I had COVID. But that was not fat, it was muscle. The body burned my muscles, supply me with oxygen. That's what happens. I drop out 17 kilo in weight in muscles. So when I start to go in, my legs started, because I have edema in the legs because of the obesity. I was in measuring my legs, and I lost 5 centimeters of muscle around my legs, on my lower part of my legs, over the foot and up here. So 5 centimeters disappeared in 17 days. So minns förresten jag står på yeah, of course, yes, that was the same guy, and that was not my heaviest weight. I think if you meet me around 2016, then I was the heaviest at my weight. I think I was on a scale in December, December 2016. That was when I go to industrial weight scale in Eskilstuna in the scrapyard. Now it's down in Hällby. Folkestad in my town, close to Hällby. There is the company that moved out there, but it was inside in 2012. Yes. I was pretty obese. I was over 200 kilo then. I think I was still working at that company in city. It was a car company. I was scaled in 2010 at 201 kilos. So I was big. But I got even bigger. 2016 I was scaled in at 289 kilo. But I changed my photo in this YouTube channel, and you see a photo that is not perfectly fine. Oh, okay, yes. But I scaled in I have a photo done now in this channel from 2016 in July month. It's from a movie. So you can actually see me, playing guitar on another YouTube channel that I answer. You can look at the movie. If you see my name here, Sven Eriksson, and I do this smiley. If you go to that channel, you can see this video of me playing. And that is the heaviest weight that I ever had. I didn't go to any scale, but you can see that video. and you can actually see that it's me and how big I was. That is the most weight I ever had in my life. And I was so bad in shape 2016 in July month because I had a leg wound. So I got, almost, they was so problematic. So get the healing that leg could have been, chopping off the leg if I got too big. So I got a big scar on the right leg. But if you look at that video and the food I have in this channel now, that's showing the biggest version of me, and I was more than 289 kilo because I dropped some weight under this summer, and in the east I tried to drop weight before, eating less as usual I did, and so I skated in at I think it was 16 or 19 December 2016 at 289 kilo, but I can have been over 300 as maximum. And I increased my weight after separation. I did live with a woman in this place in my city and had a house. So 2014 we separated. I lost the work, I lost everything. I lost the house, her, everything. I just crashed totally. And 1 year after I started drinking alcohol, as many else do when you separate and not feeling good. So I gained weight. So that 200 plus kilo, 201, 202 kilo after 2014 to 2016, I increased it and go up to around 300 kilo. And I did that with eating Asian food, buffets. And I started drinking alcohol 2015 in the summer. And I think it was the only time in my life I drinking like that. I never done that. It's 5 years since I stopped drinking alcohol totally. I do not drink alcohol anymore. It's 5 years more or less today. And I gained weight by drinking alcohol, copious of alcohol. I drink beer, but not much beer. I drink gin and tonic. I use sugary tonic water, and Indian tonic with sugar. And I consume around 1 liter of gin each week for 1 year. No, it was not hard. I didn't drink alcohol because I wanted to. I did that because of the pain. I had a house and I had my problems that I lived with a long time, and I come to agree with my ex. She moved out, so I live alone in this house with my kids every second weekend. I finished this house. I fixed the house. She moved away, and I fixed the house to get my money back because I invested a lot of money in that house. But we split everything when we lived there. So I got her to leave, so I could fix the house for myself and take all the payments. And so I work unemployment, use all my savings to fix the house ready so I could sell it and get a profit of it, get my money back. Because I had spent around $500,000 of my own money on that house, and if I sell it like it was, I will lose like everything I had no work. So I will start over in a new apartment with no money and no work. That was impossible, and I was so heavy, so it was problematic for me to get work. So I start to working on the house for my own, and I work every day, all the days, with my body not functioning very well because I had the damage from my car accident. So when I was finished with the house, my body was in severe pain. I did work that I shouldn't do. I have this, after the car accident, I always got work with, in Sweden we have protection for people that are handicapped, and I was handicapped then. So I had, employment with, security systems. So I would not lose the work if I had some problems with the pain and I could not move like I did. So I just started drinking alcohol because that, released the pain and, not feeling the pain. So I started drinking alcohol to just live through the days and not getting this pain, because painkiller doesn't work against this problem in the nerves that I got after the accident. And so I drink alcohol to, push down the pain. So I did that for 1 year, and I gained that weight with the food. So I drink more or less every evening, I was sober when I drive, absolutely, but I drink like one in Swedish we say grog, like maybe 6 centiliters, 8 centiliters of gin, and put tonic water, take 1-2 each every evening, and go sleep. And I did that and on the weekends I drink even more. So I think I drink up around 52 liters of gin 1 year. So 1 liter of gin every week, plus wine, plus beer, plus some whiskey, It was a lot. So I never drink that much in my life. And I was never the person before this to go even to in Sweden we have special places we need to buy alcohol. And after that, I think I'd been maybe before Carnivore, between those 2016 to, no, I think it was 2016 the last time I visited this Systembolaget in Sweden. Before that, I got my kids between 2010 to 2015. I didn't drink anything else at that time either, because I had a kid I didn't want to drink. So even my ex told me, well, why don't you drink anything? You cannot have fun if you don't drink. I said, but no, I can have fun without alcohol. So before that, I never ever drink alcohol, more or less, never ever. So this was a short time in my life I started to do this. So it was not a problem. I just stopped drinking alcohol. So that was ready. I was ready with that. See, we have a question. Have eaten animal bears with some food? So for you, Philip, I would say that this is oxalate dumping. That's the case, more or less. And to get this, if you're still at the channel, I will tell you that if you want to get less seizure from this oxalate dumping, take 3 teaspoons of black tea. You cook black tea, you can drink it cold. Take 3 teaspoons. That's enough with oxalate to get this oxalate dumping down a bit. So you slow down the oxalate dumping. You don't want to do this like I did it, because that's painful. And I didn't understand why I get this problematic in the urine. I get eczema over the body. I got red, like small wound. I dropped out from my live session. So I got problems with eczema. Looks like small wounds around the skin, like small, and it was like sand coming out from the skin, and it was oxalate. So I have not had this eczema since then. So I probably get rid of maybe 95% of my oxalate in the body. It's gone. And the thing is, if you don't eat in clean carnivore, still I say to you, quit the honey. It's not more than just pure sugar. Skip it. It's not good for you. So stay away from honey. It's not good. So if you're eating that, we'll see here if I find it there. So skip the honey. Honey is not good for you. That's just pure sugar in just another form. And it's sugar, and sugar is bad for you. So if you use any honey, let's say you use 2 grams of honey to get the taste of something. Maybe it works sometime, but don't use it. It's useless for you as food. It's just killing your GLP-1, because sugar is the thing that down-regulate your GLP-1 secretion, and that will also make you more hungry. So this I talked about before taking questions, is that you need to increase your GLP-1, because that makes your satiety more and longer. It makes your nutrition uptake way better. So that was what you have to work on, is get your GLP-1 up, and you can do that by increasing your fat intake. And you can eating fat, if you don't like all fat, if you live in Sweden, I think in most countries you can buy that. Hopefully most in Europe can do this. If you get your hands, go into Amazon and you will search for lardo, and it's the seller's name is Salumi Passini, and you can buy this lardo. It's about $13 per package, 300 grams of fat. It's not cheap. I don't tell you that it's cheap. But the first time you taste that, you will be say, fuck you to me, because you will spend more money. I buy that fat it'll be around 5 times per year. I buy maybe 5 pounds each time of pork fat from Italy, and it comes with ice. It's stay cold. So it's cold transport with FedEx, and it comes home to the door. I pay $20 for the shipping, so I will survive that. So it's I spend around $150 of money around every second month on lardo, and that fat is the most nutrition fat you can ever eat. It contains vitamin D in 2 forms. First, it contains D3. It also contains D25. D25 is the ready-made vitamin D that you can synthesize directly into your kidneys and make in this final product for you. But you will eating that fat. If you eat 100, let's say 50 grams of that fat, you get around 20,000 international units of vitamin D. And that will increase your vitamin D level in the body freaking high. The last test I done was in February month. That is bloody winter in Sweden. I had 262 nanomoles. That equals to 104 nanograms per deciliter in vitamin D. And that is in Swedish winter. Most people have low vitamin D in the winter, and this was freaking high. And doctors asked me if I eat any supplements. And I said, no, I eat pork fat from Italy, because that fat is coming from pigs that are pasteurized outside. They're eating stuff and, going around free range. And they get his sunshine. And the pigs are the same as human. They create vitamin D in the skin by go out in the sun. Therefore, pigs back in the time in Sweden, if you live in the cold countries like we do here, we do not get vitamin D from the sun. From today is the last time the sun will go up enough to get creating vitamin D in our bodies. So from 15 September, it's the end of the vitamin D from the sun here where I live. I think you go down to South Sweden, you can maybe get this 10 days more. But in the North Sweden, and from where I live in, around Stockholm, in this area and up, you will not get vitamin D from the sun now. So you need to increase your intake of pork fat from Italy, my recommendation. Then we get a lot of vitamin D. And don't eat too much. I say if you're not that obese, go for 50 grams maximum per day. If you're obese, you can increase it to 100 grams. But it's very good source for vitamin D. Yes, and I will quit this also. Will be 2 hours, and it's long time for me. So I will end this in 1 minute, and hopefully I will get more people look at live at this. Now I know it's early. I know people in other countries that follow this channel, maybe in United States, they are freaking afternoon now, or daytime. I think 2 o'clock, this must be around 2 o'clock in the afternoon in Central Time, United States. So they're probably busy with other stuff at a Saturday. So if I do this, I probably want the American listeners and ask questions here. I probably need to send this next time around 11 o'clock in the evening until 1 o'clock. And that's late for me, because normally I go sleep around midnight, because I need to go up to work most of the time. So I even work at the weekend sometimes. So I never stay up later than 12 o'clock normally. Oh, now I say goodbye in 20 seconds. I will say goodbye. And this live will come up tomorrow, sometime, because this take time to, get live, get up at YouTube. So I say bye-bye, and hopefully we see you next time. Goodbye, and see you. Hopefully I get more listen and more questions next time. It was a little bit short time of planning, but next time I hopefully do this in 1 week before, so you get this, you can plan to listen to this and ask your questions. And hopefully you understand what I talk about. I try to improve my English every day, and by talking more this language, I probably increase my vocabulary. Bye.